Episode 40. Lordy, we're turning 40 of Cinema Curse. Tonight, I'll hug my face and burst my chest. We're talking aliens. As Alien Romulus sweeps the world, conquers the world. We're here today to talk about 5 of the movies in the Alien Septology, which is what I'm going to coin it. It's as good of a word as quadrilogy. The 5 movies that people don't agree on as being 2 of the best movies ever made. I am your wicked game master, Connor Lloyd Crews, and joining me today, the Joey Chestnut of talking about movies, Edwin Gomez.
Hello, America. I am somewhere on the Ventura Freeway passing the now forgotten ArcLight Theater. That's now a Regal. I'm inbound somewhere. The roads are high.
Sherman Oaks.
Stakes are low.
Yeah.
I don't know what kind of adventures I'm looking at here. We might have ourselves a Die Hard type of situation here.
Like Die Hard 3 or Die Hard 4?
Yeah, Die Hard 3. Yeah, Die Hard 3.
Also here today is Brian.
What's up, guys?
And Scott.
Hey, everyone. Great to see you.
And Casey.
Hi. Great to see you, Scott.
Last as usual because of his last name being so far back in the alphabet.
That's right.
I want to thank Marina Sakamoto and her band Shunken for the use of their song Curse for our opening. It's off the album EP She Nods. It's been 294 days since the strike ended and the AMPTP still sucks. I also want to thank, I feel like this is I got a 1 out of 4 shot. I kind of want to thank Marina Sakamoto for giving Edwin a ride right now, or is it somebody else?
Wait, were you talking to me?
Yeah, it's fine. Don't worry about it. I was just making a joke. How's everybody doing?
Great.
Nice. Well, let's before we dive into the real meat of this thing, let's I've got this screen cap from the first Alien, and
My favorite part.
do we all agree that we like Alien and Aliens better than all 5 of these other movies? Does anyone here disagree with that?
Wow, really?
Casey, you disagree?
Are you just being an
one of these 5 movies you like better than one or both of these first 2 movies?
Yeah, I like 4 better than Aliens.
Okay, interesting.
Maybe that fucking French director. That's why.
We can.
What are you talking about?
We can.
We are not going to be civil about this.
But is that the only exception?
Yes.
Well, we'll wait till we get to Resurrections to
Yeah.
let you sort of speak on that a little more.
No problem.
I actually think that that's like the most justifiable opinion you could have that deviates from what we were saying. If I'm being totally honest.
Yeah, I get it.
I feel it. But what's everyone's like one paragraph opinion on these films? I think the first is like, top 10 all-timer for me. I think the second is a great, if in my opinion, and this has something to do with my James Cameron thing and something to do with how much I like the first one, but I do think Aliens is a little overrated, but it is also a great movie, and hard to deny.
I'm in that vein as well. Like the original Alien is everything. I have that like an old Mondo poster above my bed of the original Alien. That is just always going to be an all-timer. Aliens, I'm with you, Connor. Like I love it. It's a fun time.
Mm-hmm.
When I think about revisiting it, it's always Alien that I always go to.
I agree with that as well.
I absolutely love Aliens.
Yeah.
I have to admit, Alien is probably film and like the movie that this whole thing is like built on.
Yeah.
But Aliens is my shit. Absolutely. Yeah, I love that movie. It's one of my favorites.
Nice.
Like of the two, it's funny. The two I revisit more often is Aliens. Like I don't mind just going straight to that one right away.
Yeah.
I think it's its own perfect. But like I totally understand, especially you guys preferring Alien. And honestly, as far as I had to go for like great movies of all time, I would probably put Alien higher. But yeah, Aliens is absolutely my shit.
I think it's like such a like it's one of those things where it's like when people get in a heated argument about which one's better, it's kind of like why, like they're both clearly great.
To me, it's more of a personality thing than a like right or wrong thing. I feel like you can love them both, but you're gonna like one better. Just they're different enough.
Yeah,
they're that different that there's one, and to me that's more like what you enjoy from movies. I don't think there's a right or wrong answer.
Yeah, 100%. It doesn't really say anything one way or another. But Edwin, which one do you like more? Aliens, probably, because you're fucking stupid.
What the fuck?
Coming out the gate.
What the fuck?
Edwin.
I should just drive over there right now.
Edwin, which one do you like, Alien or Aliens more?
Connor, you fucking Frank, okay? Fucking Frank here. Alien is fucking goddamn fucking masterpiece. The only movie fucking like in the fucking world. All right, Alien, masterpiece. But you can't talk the first fucking movie, Connor. Do you understand what I'm fucking saying right now, man?
So you're agreeing with everyone for most of. I don't know why you're so aggressive towards me.
No, do it.
Fucking everybody, man. That Alien is the pure. One of the best goddamn motion picture fucking made, man.
3 of the 4 of us were saying that.
I know.
Literally.
Like literally, we're agreeing with you.
Too. Yeah,
I know.
And so Scott was also kind of saying it.
Yeah. Alien is an absolute work of art.
Awesome. That's what I want to fucking hear.
Before we move on to 3, I want to introduce, and we're going to seed it throughout. And I told Scott the whole thing the other night, but I thought of a rock band metaphor and a cover thing
and
metaphor.
I just want to say, I think it's perfect. I really like this.
I would compare. First, I'm going to introduce the first 4 movies, and then when we get to the ones after that, we'll continue and reevaluate where we are in the metaphor. But these first 4 movies to me feel like not so much in the sense that I'm comparing these directors to these bands, more so that I'm comparing the space and style and tone between these directors to the same thing between the bands and like the genres they occupied. But it's kind of like the first 4 movies are kind of like if Led Zeppelin made a great song, like an incredible, perfect song in the 70s, and then like Megadeth covered it in the 80s, and Nirvana covered it in the 90s, and the Hives covered it in the 2000s. And that these first 4 movies are these 4 very distinct, essentially takes on what is more or less the same story each time. with sort of with variations on, you know, she saves a cat in this one, and this one she saves a human, and this one she saves a gay robot, you know, and but I will continue this metaphor when we get to Prometheus, because it evolves from there. But let's talk about the third movie, really. Alien 3, which I got this behind the scenes photo of. I think they used a little whippet for like the dog.
Yeah.
And it just looked like a dog running around in an alien costume. So they were like,
Great.
they were like, nope, we gotta do something else. This is not it. Who wants to summarize Alien 3 besides just saying it's Alien again, but David Fincher does it this time?
Is half the movie right there. So after the events of Aliens, our hero, Lee, up on a prison planet, only to find out that everything that happened in the second one didn't matter.
Yeah.
No, but like, only to find out that Newt and she's the only survivor from got out of the second movie.
Yeah.
And she is infected with an alien, and she knows it, and she has to get rid of it. But she's stuck on this men-only prison planet that's very 90s depressing. So,
and it's like a weird, it's even weirder than just a prison planet. It's like a former prison planet that is now only occupied by a skeleton crew of like weird religious prisoner people. And
but there's a reason that they're all the ones that are left there.
Yeah, they all decided they like wanted to be left there. And which is weird. I was looking through and like creating the trivia for this when I was looking through some of like the history of this, and that monk stuff is like taken from one specific version of the script, clearly, where it was like a weird little, it was like a satellite. It wasn't even a full planet that she goes into, and they're like super religious, and they like lock her underground, thinking that she's like of the devil or whatever. There's like all these other versions. I guess also just if people don't know the plot of the first two Aliens, it's you know, there's an alien. There's a there's an egg, face hugger gets you, puts its dick down your throat, shoots eggs into your belly, and then like a couple hours later, a little wiener monster pops out your chest. And it turns into a giant the perfect organism killing machine with acid for blood and all this other shit. And in the first one, it's one, and in the second one, it's a bunch, and it's more of an action movie. And that's the summary of the first. The first one's
what if there were more?
The first one's
totally
like old school Ridley Scott slow burn sci-fi, and the second one is like James Cameron sci-fi spectacle, and then this third one is now, you know, David Fincher 90s depressing grunge. But yeah, what do people think about this one? It's a huge bummer, that opening.
Yeah, it's not a fun time.
I think it's great.
I liked it more than I remembered liking, and I think a lot of that had to do with this is the first time that I ever watched this movie without having just watched Aliens quite recently. Like this is the first one. When I started this little project, I started with I guess I started with Romulus. I saw that one, ended up seeing that one first. But and that's really like, on its own terms, it's fun. And one thing that impressed me right away was how David Fincher it felt right away. And this is his first film. He obviously he was a music video before that. So you know, he wasn't like unskilled, but like just watching this movie, it was like instantly it felt like David Fincher, and it felt like, oh yeah, of course he went on to do 7 after this. Like they felt of a piece with one another. And I thought was first like front loaded, and it started out really
Yeah.
well, but by the end it kind of just becomes a bunch of dudes yelling and screaming.
The third act, I think, really hurts this movie a lot. The third act of this movie is really boring. It is nameless bald guys running around identical corridors forever. This somehow got nominated for an MTV award for best action scene, and I don't get it. It's not. I mean, Fincher isn't an action director. You know what I mean? Like, I don't.
Yeah.
And he's a tension director, so the first half, when there's more of that kind of stuff, like, works.
Yeah. We're not doing spoilers. We're just going straight into it.
Yeah.
Who cares?
Who cares?
I will say, choice to kill Charles Dance when they did was brave in that, like, oh wow, like I didn't you figured he was not going to make it, but when he does die, even knowing that he died, this is like the third or fourth time I've seen this movie, I was still like, oh, it comes earlier than I thought, and I think that's a brave choice, but I don't think they ever found a way to replace it. That is the problem. Then you're right. It was a bunch of nameless small dudes, just who I didn't care about, and they were just fine. They were just meat to be eaten by the alien, essentially.
Don't get the ice cream.
Brian Casey.
I'm fine with it. It's, like you said, boring in the third. Charles S. Dutton, he's the main everything in that movie. I'm a big fan of his.
Yeah.
He had a show called Rock back in the 90s that I loved as a kid. So I don't know. Anytime I see him on screen, I'm happy.
You're showing us the menu.
Hell yeah.
Oh yeah.
Oh, where is he at?
Let me get a. What is that? Del Taco? What is that? No, that's Wiener Schnitzel.
Oh, Wiener Schnitzel. Wow, that's a delicacy.
Hell yeah.
Look at you.
They're expensive now. They're expensive.
Everything.
I don't think I've been since pre-pandemic was the last time I was there.
Everything's expensive, but wait a second. I'm sorry. I like Alien 3.
Yeah, let's get back on topic. We got like 5 movies to talk about.
I like Alien 3. Yeah, I think Charles S. Dutton is great in it. I love Charles Dance in it. I mean, Sigourney's gonna Sigourney. You know what I mean?
Yeah, she's everything.
She's
like
good
her.
in all these.
Yeah.
I think, she's just great. You don't get an Oscar nom for nothing. And I think I also agree. The action is subpar.
Mm-hmm.
I was noticing that CGI alien in the hospital scene that just kind of like rolls over.
So apparently there isn't actual CGI in this movie, from my understanding. It's all compositing. It's all like compositing work, like scaled model stuff. It does not look very good, a lot of it, when it's zip zapping around towards the end.
Yeah. Especially because the practical stuff is pretty decently done, and so it's a very noticeable difference from when it's not practical.
I will say, this, whatever you want to say about this movie, it has maybe contains the most iconic image of the entire Alien franchise. I will say that.
Sure, absolutely.
Her in the med bay with the close up with it next to her is like an incredible image, like indelible.
Absolutely.
And
even getting ahead, even in Romulus, they pulled that move real quick.
Yeah.
I mean, it's absolutely iconic.
Edwin, Ice Cream Man, what do you think about Alien 3? Edwin, what do you think about Alien 3? Okay, well, I'm gonna talk about myself. Just soft serve. He's thinking about that soft serve.
Soft serve stash over there.
I like the weird society that they have. I like the character actors. Good gore. I like the scene where Lance gets brought back and he yearns for death, as does she, when she's like, "You've been in my life for so long, I can't remember anything else." And I like the company stuff at the end is really good. I don't. Another issue I had with it, rewatching it, like there's some like weird sitcom plotting in this where it's like, why doesn't she just tell Charles Dance, like early on? Like she like holds out on that for so long, and it's like, just tell this guy, like, what the fuck, like. Like, what are you doing? I genuinely don't understand on a character level. If they had had a thing, like if they had had a line where it's like, well, I didn't know if you were from the company or whatever, you know what I mean? Like, maybe, but that doesn't really seem to be the vibe of why she's not telling him. She's like telling him for like sitcom reasons, like she's embarrassed or something. Right. I also think I was looking at, my favorite was William Gibson, who most famously he wrote like Neuromancer and stuff. He wrote a version of a script that he mockingly summed up as "Space commies hijack alien eggs, big problem in mall world." And it sounds pretty cool though, actually. Like there's a giant like mall world or something. It's like another adventure with her and Kyle Reese and Newt or whatever. Yeah. Edwin, are you there? Edwin?
You're on mute, buddy.
Yeah.
What do you think about Alien 3?
It's okay. I mean, I don't know. It's like you said. I think Fincher is more like he's not an action guy. I mean, he could do like action stuff, but not like a whole movie, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's pretty all right.
Well, does anybody have any other Alien 3 thoughts? Can we move on to Alien 4?
I do not.
My favorite of these 5 movies that we're talking about.
I unfortunately did not get the chance to redo it in this run, but
from the director of Amelie, it's Alien Resurrection. Who wants to give a summary of Alien Resurrection? Casey?
Yeah, I was gonna say.
No, I don't remember enough. The reasons I like it are like purely like superficial.
Oh wow! I thought you had a whole thing.
No, I don't have a whole thing. I mean, it's great. I don't think it's bad, but whatever. I'll get to it.
All right. In Alien Resurrection, Ripley is back.
He's back after, and the third one ends with her killing herself in the most impractical way possible by throwing herself in a molten lead, which feels like a real, just like bottom tier.
Those last couple seconds before that's happening, that's got to be a weird thought.
Yeah.
Man, I fucked this up.
And they're back. They've cloned her, and it's like 200 years in the future, and she's got like an 8 tattooed on her, which is a little mystery that gets set up. I'm getting an echo from someone. I'm not really sure where that echo is coming from. It might be from Casey.
I'm gonna guess Edwin.
No, Edwin's been muted.
Okay.
Sorry, I don't mean to embarrass you, Casey. It's but
Casey.
Resurrection is it's made by clearly made by a big pervert, and I mean that as a compliment. And I think it's probably the horniest Alien movie.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it does a lot of these. And like these during it, and so you know it's got to be good. Sigourney is great in it. She gets to play something a little weirder, which we can get into in a second. There's a lot of weird sexual mommy dom sexual tension between her and Winona. Also a lot of sexual tension between Brad Dourif and the aliens. But yeah. It's good stuff. What do y'all think?
Good film.
Yeah, I remember being just weird and good in a way that isn't like any of the others that have come other than obviously the first two outside of those.
Yeah.
I want to revisit it. I need to do it. You guys might push me tonight with your comments.
Yeah, I have to agree with you, Connor. It was probably my favorite of the ones we will be discussing today. it's just I call it fun sci-fi trash.
Yeah.
And I mean that in the best way. You know, it's not that deep, but the character, like the crew,
Yeah.
fun. Like I cared about that crew enough that, you know, there are archetypes, but that's all they needed to be. I do wish, like, I don't know how to say this. I wish it was a little better.
Yeah.
like this was fine, but like it's like, oh, there's probably like I wish they were more than the characters were more than just archetypes, you know, like, and like that I wish I like cared more about them on a superficial level. You know, the bad guys were bad, the good guys were good, whatever, and the aliens were like, you know, this thing they had to get through. So it all worked on that level. Enjoyed it. I think these two movies get a bad rap slightly.
Yeah.
You know, I have the Alien.
Oh yeah.
Technology, and like I was talking about, there was a long time when like this was it for the Alien movies. So the other two were always kind of seen as like the bad ones because like, well, like I said, I would always watch them with the other ones, and it is definitely a step down in quality from two of the best movies ever made. You know, but on their own terms, I'm glad I got to see it this way, because like I feel like I'll appreciate them more next time I go through and watch these in a way that I might not for the other ones we're about to talk about. But like, and I know we're going to get into it more, but in a way, to me, these are the Alien films. And everything else is trying to recapture this glory in one way or another. Where these are just kind of doing their own thing. They were Alien films. They weren't trying to respond to the legacy or whatever. They were just like, we're going to make another one. She's back now. So, yeah, I think I really like this one.
Casey?
I really like it too. I think it's great. I mean, the way I definitely interact with the Alien films is like each one is serving a different purpose.
Yeah.
And I like that this one's like, what if we just like turned it up to like, what if we just went a little weird?
Yeah.
And that seems to be like its sole goal. It's like every moment that it can be just, you know, its own thing, it does it.
Honestly, when this one was over, I was disappointed. I was like, it's too bad there's not more. Like, actually, I wish they went in this direction more with this, like, new Ripley character, and maybe, like, Rod Winona back.
100%. The crew, the four remaining at the end, I'd see. It reminds me of, like, an RPG campaign. Like, I want to see what happens with them next.
Yeah.
The cast in here is out of control. The one, Brad Dourif, the goat, kissed smooching the alien last scene where he's like, it's a beautiful baby. And Perlman at his most monkey-like. Tuco from Breaking Bad playing a good guy.
I completely forgot about that.
The guy in the wheelchair
last time I saw it.
with the who are you expecting, Santa Claus, which I can't find an earlier version of that. So I don't know. Maybe he I feel like can't have popularized that, but maybe that version of it. There's the like the bad guy scientist. Like one of the first times he's introduced, and he's like looking down at the alien, and he just goes like, yeah. Dan Hedaya as the captain is fucking out of control. Like, he really, really feels like before every take he just got a giant bowl of Coke and, like, shoved his face in it. Leland Orser as the guy who gets infected, who, not infected, but gets the chest burster, and he's a pretty awesome, like, ending, like, what he does at the end when his chest does get bursted. And then Winona Ryder and all of the weird sexual tension, you know, all the like guys kind of ogling her early on, but then when she's like talking to Winona and like the how can you stand being what you are, and like the like elder gay, like her kind of like teaching her in a way, and also fingering her hole, the wound, but yeah, great cast. I assume this one did not do very well when it came out. No.
Yeah, because it's too bad. Because like I said, I would have watched more with that crew and that cat. You know, like I thought it was like, and even that tone.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, because even with like the tone, there's still some good stuff in there, like some creepy stuff too. Like it almost like in some ways it kind of makes some of the creepier stuff like extra creepy, I think. Like when it cuts to that scene where there's all those eggs and all those people are like by the government being like put against the walls and like waiting for it. And all the stuff where they're like trying to train them, but the aliens are able to like figure out what's going on and like use the stuff against them. And there's the breath ID, which is really funny. That's a funny bit. The basketball court scene, which rules. Winona sunk that basket in one take, or not a Sigourney. That was her like first take. She like practiced it. She practiced it forever, and then when she got on set, it was apparently a different like height or distance than what she had practiced, and she still got it on the first take. And apparently they cut out of the shot, I think, kind of quick, because apparently like Ron Perlman in the shots used like pretty quickly after she sinks it, like turns to the camera like, what the fuck? and then immediately was like, oh no, did I fuck up the take? This is a Joss Whedon film. I think it's funny that in this one there's a thermos, there's a gun hidden as a thermos, and then we've got a bong hidden as a thermos in Cabin in the Woods. Man, there's people yelling outside my door. I don't know if you guys hear that.
I did. I was wondering where that was coming from. Crazy.
I don't understand.
You should just open your door and scream at them really loudly.
I don't want to.
Hey, I'm streaming here.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't want to close the window because it's going to get really hot and stuffy in this room.
Yeah.
But I also don't want to be an asshole.
I would just open your door and slam it really hard. Don't say anything. I think that'll just be enough to give them a little nudge.
I don't want to. We'll just. Is it like really noticeceable?
No.
Okay.
It just sounds like a party is happening kind of in the background. It's entertaining.
It kind of is.
It's a couple fighting me.
Totally.
Hell yeah, Edwin. Hell yeah.
Hell yeah. Grip it and rip it, baby. Basket case.
He will be passed out in approximately 14 minutes.
I want to circle back to my favorite scene and one other piece of little trivia I have about this, but I do like the ending also, like the bed of aliens and Ripley, because like the big thing we find out is that Ripley, she's a clone, and so she has, because they cloned her to get the alien that was inside her out of her, but in doing so they've kind of, Brundlefly-esque kind of mixed their DNA a little bit, so she's like 90% Ripley, but she's also 10% like a xenomorph, and we find out towards the end that the xenomorph has also absorbed some human traits and gives birth to this pretty sad looking alien human hybrid who really just wants love, and it has like a big wiener hole. But apparently Geiger liked this one. I was like, when I was looking through the Wikipedia pages, he liked this one, which is funny. But I think the best scene in this movie is the 1 through 7 scene.
Yeah.
Which, like, genuinely, if people haven't seen this movie, I would say, we're not going to throw up spoilers tag, but just skip to our convo of the next one. There's a scene, they establish early on that she's got this 8 tattooed on her wrist. And at one point in the movie, she gets through a door marked 1 through 7, and she opens it up and finds the first 7 attempts to clone her, including the last one, which is played by Sigourney Weaver as well, in like a bunch of prosthetics, who's just like, kill me, like, and it's pretty fucked. it's a really good scene, and a scene that stuck with me for a long time. I remember always liking this one. I think a big part, I remember that scene always like sticking out in my head, where I was like, how can people dismiss this one? It's got that scene. But Edwin, what do you think about Alien Resurrection? You there, Edwin?
It is there.
Eating some fries?
French.
French?
French. And there's some cool stuff in it. Ron Perlman's cool.
Yeah.
Sigourney is like a cyborg, but it's still pretty cool. It's also pretty cool.
But very French.
Yeah.
Very, very French.
Speaking of that, this is a quote from the Wikipedia page. Janot was adamant about the hybrid having genitalia which resembled a mix of male and female sexes. 20th Century Fox was uncomfortable with this, however, and Janot eventually changed his mind, feeling that, this is a quote, even for a Frenchman, it's too much. So a little story behind the scenes.
BTS.
Any other big opinions or feelings about Alien Resurrection?
Not for me.
It's good.
It's good. People
It's
should
good,
check it
actually.
It's good, actually.
out. It's good.
And every one of these are on Hulu if you're looking for
It's
them.
true.
The entire thing.
Get the blue. Get this shit.
I mean, physical media forever, but if you're looking for ease at the moment.
Well, let's move on to Prometheus. And who wants to?
Can I actually real quick? Because I know this isn't what you wanted to do. You didn't want to include these two in it, but since these are the prior to Prometheus, I did do the AV. What's that? Or do you want to do it some other time?
Can we talk about them at the end?
I was just going timeline thing. That's all.
I have a place to talk about them real quick, because I know you just rewatched them, and so I did. I almost rewatched them. I almost watched. I've never seen them actually.
Oh, funny.
But
Me either. I still haven't.
who wants to?
What are you talking about?
AVP and the AVP 1 and 2. They're the ones that are prior to Prometheus and the timeline of that world.
So
Who wants to sum up the plot of Prometheus? Not Casey.
no, I need someone to tell me the plot of Prometheus.
I didn't rewatch this one either.
Basically a bunch of people. So Rock Band Metaphor Part 2.
Yeah.
Prometheus and Covenant, which I'll explain at the same time, are kind of like that same band, Led Zeppelin, coming back 40 years later and making one song that's pretty good, that doesn't really sound like the old song, and then making a second song that's kind of good, that sounds a little bit more like that old song. And they're both solid songs from like a director or a band, I should say, that's sort of past their prime. They're interesting. They're clearly like evolving on things that they wanted to elaborate on, but they're definitely not as good as the old ones. But they're fun. They're interesting. And Prometheus specifically is part 2 of a prequel thing with Alien Covenant. And in Prometheus, a bunch of people on the ship Prometheus, which feels like a real bad omen to name your ship Prometheus. I gotta be honest. It's funny, I was looking at that, like from here on out, all of them are named after the ships. Because like the first couple, like Nostromo, and then the second movie it's the Sulaco, and I forget what it's called in the fourth one. But those names are just kind of like words derived from other languages that mean like ship or shipworthiness or something to do with that. But from here they start having more like explicit meanings, like metaphorical meanings. And again, Prometheus is kind of I understand the metaphor, and I do. It's a good title, but it is also like you're kind of setting yourself up for something.
I can't believe things went wrong on the Prometheus.
It's like naming a big intergalactic star cruiser like the Titanic or something, and then being surprised when things go to shit. And basically this one, they're trying to find the origins of Wayland, the actual guy who created the company from the old Alien movies, because it's like 100 years before, and he's alive, and he's played by Guy Pearce in old age makeup. He wants to meet his maker, and so this science expedition goes off into space to try to meet the people who created humans, and we get there and we find out that they fucking hate us and they want us all to die, and that's what Prometheus is about. And there's an alien involved, and he's the best character in either of these movies, and he kind of has a similarly troubled relationship with his own maker. Yeah, what do people think about this movie, I should say, not A Covenant yet?
I mean, I could say the same for both, which is, like, I think they're very well made. I think there's a lot on their minds. Clearly, like, he came back to the Alien movies not just to, like, make monster movies. He wanted to make something profound.
Yeah.
I don't think with either one of them he nailed making a movie. He never found the narrative. He never, like, this one, a lot of stuff happens, but I couldn't even tell you who the main character is. Like,
Yeah.
David, but maybe, like, is he the antagonist? And so, really, he's more interested in the androids than he is the xenomorphs.
Yeah.
Which, my roommate had a good point. It's interesting that he came back then to the Alien movies and not the Blade Runner movie.
Yeah.
If he was so interested in the androids. But, that seems to be his story. I don't know. I the filmmaking, but I don't think they land. I like what he was going for. I wish they would have pulled him off, but I just feel like they did.
Are there other feelings?
I was bored. I remember just being really bored and sleepy, to be honest with you. That's why I haven't revisited it. I remember, like, Charlie Day. I remember he was like one of the scientists. I think that was the other thing that bothered me is these, like, scientists that were there.
That's Pacific Rim.
None of them did their. What's that?
That's Pacific Rim.
Yeah, Charlie Day is not in this one.
No, what am I thinking of?
The guy, one of the two Andys from Hot Fuzz is a scientist, and also the bad guy from some of the last Mission Impossible movies.
Oh, I'm surely I've not watched in a million years. I just remember not liking it.
Yeah,
it's visiting, I think.
Yeah, I liked. I've always been a Prometheus defender, and I didn't like Covenant when it first came out. Revisiting them, my opinions of them have kind of equalized a little bit. I still think Prometheus is, like, just better overall. Like, it looks nicer, and it feels like it has, like, more. It feels like, well, it is always kind of in search of a clear narrative. At least always has, like, interesting developments happening. Where I think Covenant really gets kind of bogged down in its second half of just characters kind of just hanging out and not doing anything.
Well, that's what I think. I remember, like, where they were, like, the scientists, all these, like, tech people didn't do their jobs. Like, once they had to actually prove and do their jobs, they were just terrible at it. And that's what I remember from it. Yeah,
well, there's all the discourse about the helmets in the movie, and that's kind of silly because it's like the whole point is that they get there and it's like, the atmosphere is breathable. And they take off the helmets, and then it's never actually a problem in this one. In Covenant, it becomes a problem. But in this one, it's not a problem, but everyone got mad at it. But then when they didn't even wear helmets the whole fucking time, and it actually matters, it's suddenly like a big, nobody cares anymore. I remember that annoying me when Covenant came out. People were, like, defending it like as it being better than Prometheus. And I was like, no, they're just, like, stupider in this one. They just don't even wear helmets at all. And, like, there's that scene where he, like, approaches the little snake monster and probably gets a little too close to it, but like, he is also wearing, like, a big helmet, you know what I mean? Like, I don't like, I like, it is kind of stupid what he's doing, but they're also just, like, hanging out there for the night and kind of loopy, and I don't know, it, like, never bothered me that much.
It didn't take me enough out of it.
Yeah.
And there's some good shit in Prometheus. That surgery scene is...
Yeah, the self-abortion. That's an incredible... Like, that's an awesome scene. I know people were like, oh, they just replaced... what if instead of an alien, it was a large blue man? And people were like, and I say, actually, that's cool. I think it's cool and fun that it's a large blue man trying to just, like, breaking his way through your shit. And
sorry.
No.
I feel like Ridley's for me, Mr. Scott is like an every other movie kind of guy, and Prometheus. I also don't understand lore. Like the minute like worlds start being developed, I can't take any more information. So when it really gets into like there are parts that are like obviously like referencing or whatever you want to do with the other movies. But once he starts getting into like, oh man, this is the creator or whatever, I'm like, I just can't do it. That's all.
Yeah.
It's fine. It's fine.
See, yeah, I don't know. Like, I feel like the lore is pretty light, and they do a good job of like in this one. There's some good stuff with like I do wish they had focused maybe more on David. Like if David had been the main character, because there's some really interesting stuff about like the fact that we are going to our creators, but he knows his creator. Like his creator's right there, and like. And we view David as not having a soul, or the humans do, and like what does that say? What does that relationship of ours towards him say about our relationship with the blue men? And I think there's some interesting stuff here that Covenant kind of brings forward a little bit. It kind of just also becomes like a Island of Dr. Moreau sort of Frankenstein thing. But I like this one a lot. Great cast, good score, looks awesome. David watching Prometheus, flute playing established.
Yeah. Did anybody else think that Charlize and Idris had sexual tension?
They fuck.
They got fucked up. Yeah.
Okay.
Bro, what are you like hitting your head on a fucking brick wall before watching these? What's going on? Like there's literally a moment where like she's like, get in my room, soldier. I'm gonna ride that dick. Here's one of my wishes. Yeah. I know you've been charged with every human crime, but
good for him.
I like the black goo. I like that destroyed subship. Reminded me of BioShock. And I miss this era of blockbusters. One of the big things, like looking online for this one, was there was all of this like ARG shit where you could go to a website where they like did an ad on a website that was just for like the David android, and you could like find info about him and do all this stuff. And I kind of miss that for sure. That was like that was like the 2000s, early 2010s, and they kind of have stopped doing that as significantly. Now it's just like, they'll have like Donald Duck go on Hot Ones or whatever. But Edwin, what do you think about Prometheus?
Prometheus should never been made. It's not a great prequel. It's kind of a like just really Scott just trying to recapture magic that he did in 1979. Didn't bring that back. Didn't like anything about it. Why is their spaceship like so high tech, futuristic, even though it should like somehow take place in the 70s sci-fi elements, kind of. So that's just
that doesn't bother me so much. Yeah.
I think you can argue that in Alien, it's like a low, like working class, like trucker ship, and in Prometheus, even though it is earlier, it is like the richest man in the world's ship, in the universe's ship. So that I actually think that's like you can unlike Star Trek or something where it doesn't make sense how in the new Star Trek series like stuff looks way better even though it's supposed to be like way before. That does this I think you actually can. It does kind of make sense. But are we ready to move on to Alien Covenant?
Let's do it.
Because I feel like the opinions are probably going to be pretty similar. We already kind of talked about it at first. That's weird. I lost my background for Alien Covenant. I guess I'll just I guess I'll just use this picture from Cuckoo from last week of Daniel Stevens playing a flute.
Yeah, that works.
Yeah, it's funny because actually when you were talking about it earlier, I was thinking, I'm like, wait, didn't we just see this? It's funny.
Alien Covenant. Edwin, what do you think about Alien Covenant? Let's get Edwin to start. If people don't know, this is a continuation. It's basically David from the end has now just become like a mad scientist and has created a world of aliens, and this like settler ship called the Covenant, which is a much less ominous name, a much more like, okay, that makes sense. Covenant's like a solid name for like a settler ship. And then they go and they get attacked by aliens. Edwin? You there, Edwin? Mr. Gomez? Paging Mr. Gomez. Mr. Gomez.
What was the question?
Alien Covenant.
Same thing.
Same
Like,
thing.
Yeah, that's. Well, I don't know why he's still trying to keep doing. I mean, I don't know. It's just Alien Covenant was whatever. I don't get why there has to be two Fassbenders, one that's like an American, one British, but Ebale.
Well, that's like the best shit in the movie, so I don't know what the fuck you're talking about there. That's like the one thing I know exactly why that has to be there, because it's fucking great, actually. And if the whole movie was like, that's my big headline for this one. David is actually a top tier alien character, just outside of any top tier alien movies.
Yeah,
I love. I mean, the flute scene where he's teaching him how to play the flute. That was a joke. I chose this specifically. And he's just like, I'll do the fingering. Well, when he's like, welcome, brother, as he comes in, and just all the stuff. And he's so obviously a villain from like the second we meet him, where they're like, it's like a settler ship full of colonists. He's like, really? How extraordinary. Well. Yeah. And there's some other good cast. We get Billy Crudup. I like Catherine Watterson, Danny McBride, who should get more shots of being in like serious stuff because he's a really good actor, actually, I think. And we get I think it's funny because at the time we liked James Franco. He was like a lovable weirdo, and now he's like a hateable weirdo. But it is funny now watching this in hindsight, and just his appearance as he just gets deep fried in that thing, and then later on it's almost like a comedy shot, that like wide shot of the space bay, and they press a button and his body just goes foomp, like sucked out like shit in like a airplane bathroom, and yeah. You know, when shit goes nuts, it's pretty good. There's some good gore. I like the themes. So it's compared to Romulus, I would call it the Gentleman's Legacy sequel, because it's actually made by the same people. So it feels a little less craven in my opinion. Feels more like someone riffing on themselves.
you know, there's people who are like, "Oh, I wish we could see," because this is apparently supposed to be a trilogy. So people are like sad that they didn't get to. They're probably never going to make the third one of this. And having now just watched these two, part of me is like, yeah, I'd kind of like to see what happens next. There's also another real part of me that honestly doesn't care, because it wasn't that narratively driven anyways. So it's.
Yeah, I would like to get a follow up to either of these, like an actual proper Alien 5 or a proper Prometheus 3. Like I would like to see David's like horrible planet of, you know, monsters, his monster planet that he clearly is being set up to make. You know, yeah, critiques. They don't even wear helmets. The crew are all in couples, which seems like people are talking about like bad decisions on these things. Like that doesn't really. Yeah. That feels like it would be a bad, like have their other part be like one of the like have them be on the ship but not part of the crew. It seems kind of weird. And then the worst part of this movie, they just like once David shows up, all the scenes with him are good, but all the scenes without him, there's like fucking nothing happening. It's just like people hanging out forever. And then there's like
they're
this
stranded, but like, like that exactly that.
There's like a twist with like a robot, and it's like so obvious, and like the alien runs to the big ship, which doesn't make any sense. You think the alien would be scared of it. The cargo fight's kind of fun, but the actual ending up in the space is like a trashy sour sequence, like it's a slasher movie, and then some like shitty alien POV and a really stupid plan where they're like, we're gonna go into the cargo bay and open the door and everything's gonna get sucked. It's like, what are you doing? Like like what's going on? Like what's the point? What's all this? But Michael Fassbender kisses himself, so it's not all bad. There's a smooch.
Yeah. You know, he is so good in these movies, and he's so good as Magneto in the X-Men movies. And I just think it's a shame that none of the like his big budget like tentpole movies were as good as him.
Yeah.
You know, like if they would have been, if he could have gotten one that just really nailed it the way he did, it would have been incredible. But
yeah, if we'd gotten his like Magneto hunting Nazis in South America movie starring him, that would have been probably an awesome movie.
A movie just like him and James McAvoy as Charles or something. Yeah, it would have been incredible. But because like even I remember watching Dark Phoenix, which is not good, but like he's incredible in it in his scenes. He goes so hard.
And he's and just even what he does here, where like Walter's voice is different, and he's like he's almost doing like a stereotype of what a British person sounds like when they do an American voice. But it feels like a choice, and I like him playfully throwing pebbles at Billy Crudup when he's like asleep at that one point, and he's like when they're tossing each other around. Good. There's some good stuff. I like this one. This one was my like most improved out of watching them. The one that like went from a movie I remember thinking sucked to being a movie that I thought was like, oh, this is all right actually. This has got some good stuff. But
I like when the one alien grows like twice its size and knows Taekwondo or something in that one part. Do you guys remember that?
I don't remember that.
There's a scene. There's a scene where they're all like outside. A bunch of people are outside. Again, I don't get it. I don't know what's going on. But Catherine Waterston is like in danger or something. But the alien is small. Like it's like a tiny xenomorph. And then like she goes out for it or something, and it turns into an adult and like does like a spin whip with its tail kind of thing. I thought that was crazy.
Don't remember that.
Yeah. Like,
you remember
that? Yeah. It slices some guy's throat or like knocks his jaw.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think there's supposed to be like a couple aliens in that scene, to be honest.
That's crazy.
Because I feel like we see like a couple different ones run past.
That's crazy.
But I could be wrong. It feels like the whole planet has aliens all over it, maybe.
Crazy.
But I can't. It's hard to tell.
Right.
Because one gets killed, but then there's another one, and then there's another one. You
When they start shooting at them and stuff.
Kind of lose track of they are.
And so now, like, why does David kill all the engineers? He just hates them too, like, because and he uses their weapon against them. Is that the idea?
That part I don't understand. Yeah, I don't understand why. I could have understood it if it was like, again, if they had focused more on him. And it had been more of a thing where he was mad on behalf of the humans or something, but he seems to not really like humans either. So I don't really.
I think that was it. I think he like hates humans so much that he wants to kill the things that created humans.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, I can also understand it if it was like on a scientific level, but it seemed like he's emotional when he's doing it, when they show him doing it. So he seems to be. And I do like the way they kind of evolved his performance in this one, where he is like more emotional and a little more human, a little more like frazzled in certain ways.
Yeah.
But you know, they're good. I honestly think most of these movies are worthwhile. Honestly.
Yeah. I mean, I don't think like I said, Prometheus is worth rewatching again just because it's incredibly well made. You know, Ridley Scott, I think, is a good director. And even when there's bad movies, it's like, well, he's an incredible filmmaker.
Yeah. Well, let's move on to the new one.
All right.
I got Grand Moff behind me, which will maybe hold us. But who wants to summarize Alien Ramblers?
I could do it.
Okay.
I think I could do this one. So these workers on this, it's a worker colony on like half of the planet, right? Like there's like this small, anyway, it doesn't matter. There's a girl, she's got this like synthetic brother type relationship, and she's worried that she's going to be stuck on the planet. Coincidentally, one of her friends, love interest question mark, is like, oh hey, we're gonna go out into space, and we're gonna take these cryopods, and we're gonna go to this planet that has like sunshine and peace and harmony, and they're gonna live a wonderful life. Yeah, and then the ragtag bunch. It's 6 rapscallions. Yeah, and they go to the ship, and it's awful. It's awful. It's really bad. It's
really, really, really bad.
It's really bad. Everything that goes wrong, that could go wrong, goes wrong. And it's good.
Yeah, to finish my rock band metaphor, this is a Led Zeppelin cover band, and it's a really good Led Zeppelin cover band, but it's still just a Led Zeppelin cover band. And you know, and you know, I think this is like my third or so Fede Alvarez movie, and I have a lot of respect for him. I think it reminds me of so much of his other movies, beautifully realized, some fun new bits. But kind of bad pacing, like one of the weirdest ticking clocks I've seen in a while, and it's pretty beholden to ideas that aren't its own, I think, in like a legacy sequel way. I'm just not a legacy sequel guy. I think I realize more and more, like, I'm just not into this kind of modern, you know, retooling of a franchise. But I don't think it's bad. I think the main two characters are interesting and good, and their relationship is good. There's a lot of moments where instead of ripping off Alien, it's sort of ripping off Dead Space, and I like those moments because I haven't seen that in a movie before. And some of the sequence, you know, them running from the face huggers, the gravity goo sequence. There's some good bits, for sure. But yeah, I don't know. Like, I think it's almost my least favorite by default, just because I feel like there's nothing in it to me that really like evokes anything new that I would want to like really come back to. But I don't think it's terrible or anything.
Yeah, I haven't seen it for a minute now. I just saw it like opening weekend, but having now rewatched like what really Scott's 2 movies, it absolutely makes sense that this is the movie they made like as a course correction.
Yeah.
Because like Ridley was taking a big swing, and it just did not connect.
Yeah.
Whereas this feels like, for lack of a better term, a safe Alien movie. And a good one, well made. Like, yeah, and I enjoyed some of the set pieces. I really liked Andy as a character. I thought really well done. But yeah, I kind of feel the same way you did, Connor, in that like it didn't necessarily have put anything new to the table.
I love Andy. I love them. They're like the top letterbox review for it is like every time they made fun of Andy, I wanted to punch a hole through the screen. Like, just an all-timer character. Yeah, I mean, I think it's really good. I really liked it. and it's good exactly because of that. It's doing so many other great things in the franchise. But yeah, I mean, it's a banger. It definitely doesn't leave you wanting for action.
No.
It's like kind of constantly doing something, which I appreciate.
Yeah.
Good stuff.
I'm on that same wavelength. It's like we did the half and half between the four of us, but I had a great time with it. And and I, not being the biggest fan of all the ones outside of the original two, it was the most fun for me because it felt like kind of more of what I wanted in these movies. And I am excited for what could come from it. I love Kaylee Spaney so much. She is like, it's ridiculous just what she's doing in film for just like these. It's just nuts how many different types of roles she's doing, and she's incredible in this. And I don't know. I'd be up for Fetty to do a bunch more. To be honest, like I'm digging the direction. I think it looks great, and I think maybe having a little bit more studio confidence and not necessarily, because I feel like that's a lot of it, is you can tell it's his film, but also the studio kind of, they're protecting a major IP. And, I'd love to see, him maybe get a little more reins because I think it's there and get something interesting. I
agree. Like if this ends up being Alien: The Force Awakens and there's another movie that is The Last Jedi that is able to sort of take this aesthetic and sort of confidence of filmmaking and evolve it into something that's like more interesting, I do agree. I think that has the chance to genuinely be like a great Alien movie. And so in that sense, I appreciate that it's laying the groundwork. I guess,
and I think like if I started breaking things down, like narrative beats, you start doing it. Technically, you can have that. I think for me, this is just one of those films that I'm ignoring. Not even ignoring, but I'm so happy to be in this world of an alien movie like this that I just want to kind of I'm a little more forgiving, I guess.
I'm gonna throw up spoilers because I want to talk about a couple things. That are borderline spoiler adjacent. Just some of the more like explicit things that it was sort of taking from these first two are kind of smaller. One is I noticed they do that sound opening where like the 20th century gets louder, and apparently that was taken from 3. Like I looked at all the movies and it's only in 3, so it's like specifically a reference to 3, which is kind of weird.
There was a few nods to 3 for sure.
Yeah, but it's funny that they like specifically, like in my head when I saw that in the new one, and then when I went home the next day and saw it in 3, I went, oh, I guess this is something they do in all of these. And I just it'd been a while since I saw them and didn't remember that. And then I started watching all of them and I'm like, whoa, wait a minute. No, it's just those two. And then I think one moment that's getting probably more criticism than it deserves, considering it's kind of like whatever is the get away from her, you bitch thing. I do agree. It's like pretty. It is pretty like on the nose fan servicey, but at that point, like I wasn't shocked by it. I do think there's probably like a better version of it involves him saying something slightly different instead, like get away from her, you motherfucker. Maybe even, this is kind of stealing from Age of Ultron, but if they had even like set up the idea that he doesn't like cussing or something like in his protocols, and then at the end he had said get away from her, you motherfucker, I think that would have been a cool. That would have been my punch-up note if I was in the thing.
That's the kind of stuff that I definitely feel like the studio interference more. Like we got to tick a few boxes. Let's make a few to appeal to everybody.
I wonder.
Which is lame. Honestly, I think that. I don't think Fetty would have been like. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong, but like
being
bad on the nose with something.
I wonder because some people really like that stuff. And
yeah.
I like
That's what
it
I mean.
too.
We come from the Marvel world. I mean, you're literally talking the same owners of everything, going like, well, "Let's do this."
Yeah, but what I'm saying is, I could see a filmmaker doing that stuff intentionally. Also.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
Even the creature at the end, which is fun and cool, is kind of a redo of the ending of 4 of Resurrection. And then and then the thing I have behind me, probably the most egregious, like a genuinely borderline unethical thing that they've done, propping up the bones of dead Ian Holm to make him speak in a pointless, stupid cameo. Just get Lance Henriksen, get Michael Fassbender. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know. Like, why did they do this?
Yeah, I absolutely hated that shit. And like, he was in it so much.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like if he had just been in it for like the opening scene of just like, oh, okay, like a surprise cameo, but he was like genuinely the antagonist of the movie. Like when he started giving like exposition about the Black Goo and stuff, and it was in that shitty AI voice. Like I just like I don't want to like this is not how I want to hear important information for the movie.
Yeah, it's weird, and it also just like sticks out like a sore thumb because of how good the practical stuff looks in the rest of the movie.
Definitely.
It like looks way worse. If you even wanted to imply that, just like do like the Doctor Sleep thing, get someone and kind of style them similarly, have them have a similar voice, clearly evoking that character. But we don't need to like literally, hoist this dead man's skin up on screen and puppet it like a sock.
I know it came out this week that like he came out saying like trying to validate some of it because the family was super signed off and and I'm not justifying it at all, but like I'm wondering like at what point, because I guess he loved his being that character so much that it is one of those he'd be happy so this is a weird line we're all on right now with this stuff too. Like it is one of those that I'm also like you guys going like, this is weird. Why do we have Exposition City with an AI character?
In a sense, but I feel no ill will towards the family or the estate.
Not at all. That's why I'm just wondering at what point in the conversation is there this like sign off of like I don't know, because it's inevitable.
I think it's twofold. I think one is on a truly ethical level, you would genuinely have that sign off before someone passes. Like, I am okay with doing this. But I think on another side, on an artistic level, I just wouldn't want to do it. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Like unless it was specifically about it. You know what I mean? Like if you had like an actor who had signed off on their release before they passed away, and you were doing a project that kind of concerned that idea, I could see that being like something interesting. But for the sake of essentially just like a franchise film, I just don't think it's like worth it. Like it's it's very strange. It is something. It puts a. And I think I had kind of gotten whiff that something like this was maybe going to happen. And I remember when they like showed the back of his body, I was like, oh fuck, like oh no, they're doing this. And then I was like shocked as it went on, like how much every time it would like cut to his like face, like don't do that. Like he's like fucking MODOK or something, like in the walls. But also, what's the name doing? Romulus. I know Romulus and Remus. They're like the famous. Like when you think of like famous brothers who one killed the other, it's like Cain and Abel, Romulus and Remus. But like, what the fuck? What does everybody have to do with anything? Can anybody tell me?
I think there were two ships, so it was like they're brothers. That's it.
It's lame. There should be a better reason. Like the other.
They should have been called Bert and Ernie. It should have been Alien Bert or Alien Ernie. Like that better.
Alien Waldorf.
Yeah.
But that was something I was sort of thinking about. That I was like, what that name doing? What's the name about? What's that name about, though? What's that name doing? Edwin, have you seen Alien Romulus? I'm gonna guess no. Edwin? So funny. Edwin gets so mad that we like invite him to be on these things. Like, what does it even do for you? Like, what do you have to do for it? Okay, we're just gonna move on. I'm almost surprised if he hasn't seen this. Let me take spoilers down, and briefly, a little special background. This is from the Alien Resurrection video game.
Oh, nice.
If we want to talk about anything else, I know Brian. I've never seen the Alien versus Predator movies. You said you just watched those.
Yeah, that's it. It's funny. I mentioned the Mondo poster. The other one I have right next to that is one from the original Predator. It was definitely, that was like my first R-rated movies as a kid that I saw like real young. So it was just, that stuck with me. And I think that natural progression to Alien was sort of there. It's still got a little older. And then, so the idea of these movies happening were super exciting. And the first one, it's fun. It actually does things that are kind of like an Alien movie. The setup of like an exploration, the team factor, aliens show up, predators show up, and it's like stuff that you'd expect, chasing everything around. And it turns out that like the predators are the ones that are going after the aliens, because the aliens were sort of created for it's the only purpose they were created is so the predator could hunt something, and they would like basically create that world and make the eggs.
That first one's Paul W.S. Anderson, who's not like a great director, but he knows how to make like fun techno trash. You know what I mean? Like, and it's great. And honestly, like, because who cares about spoilers or any of that? But like by the end of it, you're like the lead character. She's great the whole time. Like like I'm believing she's sort of team leader this time, the entire film. And basically, one of the predators and this woman, they team up. And it's like this crazy adventure at the end that I'm like, I want to see more of this. Like literally an entire series of, because at one point there's like this admiration between the predator and her. Just then there's sexual tension between the predator and her. It's wild.
Hell yeah.
It's not. Yeah, you're kind of like, this is a world that I would love to see like episodic. Be fantastic. Create that. It'd be great. Now the second one is just it's so abysmal. I mean, it's I think in my letterbox in the last review was just irresponsible, because that's what that movie is. Like, it should just not have been made. Like, it was shot dark to begin with, but like now the transfers that are coming out, whatever's on Hulu, you can't even see most of that movie.
I was looking.
Nuts.
It's like notable. Did it come out when it came out? Was 3D big? Because I can't imagine what seeing this in 3D would have been like. Because I heard about that and I scrubbed through it and I was like, man, this movie is fucking like really feels like the whole movie's down like a couple of stops.
Because your biggest moments, your action moments, where like the alien and predator are like battling it out, you can't even see it. You're just like, well, there's an idea of a xenomorph and a predator just doing shit. It's stupid, and everything about it. Like the actual script is just why even bother? Like literally, why bother? And as a longtime fan of the franchise, that was definitely a down note. Fortunately, that franchise has gotten some new life, but it wasn't a great time. But that first one is definitely, I recommend it. It's a good time. It's not the greatest movie in the world, but like, with what it's doing, it's fun.
Yeah, I'm gonna start playing. I do a game stream on Mondays, and I've never played all the way through Alien Isolation, which I've heard is the probably actual best quote unquote third Alien movie. The third best Alien movie or whatever. It's like about Ripley's daughter or something, like set in between 2 and 3. And it's like a first-person survival horror game with apparently a really sophisticated AI that controls the xenomorph that like learns like the kind of things that you do as you play the game.
That's cool.
Oh wow!
And like adjusts to that stuff. Also was curious. I had these three. I don't know why. I have these 3 words written down: synthetics power rankings. Who we got? Who's our favorite, least favorite synthetic? I think easily worst synthetic out of all these movies is Rook, the fake Ian Holm. Easily the bottom spot. I think David might be my favorite.
Easily.
Makes most sense. I mean,
at the top, but then I think there's a lot of, because we've got there's Ash from the first one, there's Bishop from 2 and 3, there's Winona, whose name I'm forgetting, from Resurrection, and there's Walter from Covenant, and Andy.
Sorry.
Hell.
Andy's my number one for sure.
Love that boy.
I mean, they're all pretty good characters except for like Rook, who's just not really a character. Is kind of bullshit.
Abomination.
Even Walter, who's like not in it for very much. I like his stuff where he's kind of like weirdly dedicated and kind of like in love with Catherine Watterson maybe or something. Like they kind of play into that.
Yeah.
And
but doesn't realize it.
Yeah.
Like doesn't know what that is.
Yeah, I wish there's a part of me like there's like the Stan, there's like the Tumblr Stan in me that's like I wanted that movie to end with Walter and Catherine Watterson making out. But alas, it didn't happen. It was not to be. Edwin, are you there? Edwin, Earth to Edwin. We're about to go to the game. Do you have any final thoughts about the Alien movies?
I picked my baseball bat. Okay. First four are great. That's about it.
Okay.
The rest, yeah.
Well, there you have it, folks. It looks like it's time for Connor's Wicked Games, sponsored by Chris Isaac. Every week, like Jigsaw, I like to play a little game. This week, simple alien trivia. This week, we're keeping it very simple. 8 questions. The last is a Final Jeopardy style wager, fill in the blank style question. The first 7 cover in order. So this one isn't ordered by difficulty. The 7 films in the Alien Septology. I'll read the question, then take answers. I'll then read 3 options and take answers again. If you get it right the first go round and stick with your answer, you get 3 points. If you take one of the multiple choice, you get 1 point for those. That's basically it. Ooh.
That was really interestingly weird.
What just happened?
Hello.
Oh.
Whoa!
He's being weird. Oh, okay.
I am Father.
I like it.
Just kidding. You thought that it was going to be simple. Mother has set a self-destruct sequence. In order to avoid this and avoid no points for anyone, you have to figure out the code before the last round begins. A collaborative element to this game, if you will. The 7-letter code can be derived from the first 7 answers. Whoever Mother detects speaking the code first gets 20 points that they can distribute amongst all the players as they see fit. Does this make sense? Can I have confirmation?
Yeah.
Does it make
Sounds good.
sense?
I'm not sure. I mean, so we're not doing 8 questions then, eh? All right. I'm still stuck on that. We're ready for the 8.
It's kind. Well, it's basically 9 questions.
Okay.
There's a password round in the middle where you guys
that's what this is. Okay.
You have to collectively figure out the 7-digit passcode from the first 7 answers before proceeding to the final round. So
I do want to just say I want to commend you on that. Everything you've just done with this, the way you cut out, fantastic. I mean, this is like Y2K shit. The way it dropped out.
Thank you.
We were all confused. So well done.
I have a fine arts master. So
money well spent.
Money well spent indeed. Round 1, the alien question. We will start with Brian, so we can go to Edwin last. Which famous critic, reiterating a colleague, said of the original film that it was basically just an intergalactic haunted house thriller?
I might. Wait, but I don't get multiple choice right now, right?
No, if you can guess now and you stick with it, you get 3 points. And then once you get the multiple choice, if you change or choose, then you get 1 point.
Yeah, I can't. I'm not sure the name. Scott? I know it's relatively famous.
So you're saying which critic said that about the original Alien?
Yeah.
Say Gene Siskel.
Casey?
Roger Ebert.
Edwin? Are you even paying attention?
Oh no. No.
Edwin?
Not at all.
Edwin, when I call on you, you get like 5 seconds, and then Mother's gonna skip you. And you're just gonna take 0 points. Okay. Brian, the 3 options are Siskel, Ebert, and Kale.
Thought Neil Breen with Kale. Wait, technically, you said Siskel and Ebert are the options.
Siskel, A, Siskel, B, Ebert, C, Kale.
Does it count because of the time they were the 2 of them together, or is it the who specifically of the pair said that?
No, it's one of them.
Yeah, one or the other.
I was trying to think they were a cohesive unit at the time. So
well, I did.
I don't know if it was some trickery.
I'll repeat the question in case you're wondering. Which famous critic, reiterating a colleague, said of the original film that it was basically just an intergalactic haunted house thriller? But that,
I'm gonna say,
that specific
I'll say
quote.
Siskel.
Scott?
Siskel.
Casey?
I'll stay with mine too.
Edwin? 5, 4, 3. 3 points for Casey. That's Ebert, baby.
Yeah.
The first answer is Ebert. Round 2. We'll start with you, Scott. Aliens. How many operators did it take to control the upgraded and now fully articulated facehugger?
Two.
Casey.
3.
Brian. Edwin, if you want to jump in, you gotta do this. I'm gonna count this as like a 0 points also, by the way.
I'll say 3.
All right, your options, Scott, are 7, 8, or 9.
We are all right in that.
It's so funny because like obviously one of those is the real answer, and when I was putting the real answer, I was like, okay, so which, like, should I put it? You know what I mean? Like should the real answer be the lowest of the answers? Should it be the highest? And I was thinking about that, and so yeah.
I'm gonna say 7.
Casey, you're muted.
Come on, man.
Sorry, guys. I said 9.
And Brian?
I think I'm going to say the same. I'm going to just do some multiplication. My first answer.
It is in fact 9. The second answer is 9, written out as a word. Round 3, Alien 3. This is starting with you, Casey. Which famous journeyman director was first attached to direct? I can pick my nose like this and no one can tell. It's great.
Journeyman director. Oh my god. Well, I'm just gonna say somebody random.
Well, that's kind of the point.
Is it? I thought I was supposed to know things. De Palma.
I would not call him a journeyman. Edwin. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Brian.
I don't know. I need choices.
Scott.
Third one?
Yeah.
I'll say Ron Howard.
All right, Casey, your 3 options are A, Ron Howard, B, Rennie Harlan, or C, Richard Donner.
Well, I want to say Ron Howard now.
final answer?
I'll say Ron Howard. I'll just Ron Howard, whatever.
Brian?
I'm gonna stray and go Rennie.
Scott?
We're gonna stick with Howard. I can get those points. Yeah.
Yeah, but
That's-
I'm gonna be so mad.
1 point for Brian. It is indeed
Oh.
Mr. Nightmare on Elm Street 4 himself, Rennie
All right.
Harlan.
Yeah.
That was so good, Scott. When you said Ron Howard, I was like, holy shit. The answer
That's
to
great.
3 is Rennie Harlan. Round 4, Edwin, are you even there? We're playing the game. If you're not going to play, I mean, honestly, if you don't play at all, I won't count this. Or maybe I will. I don't know. If he comes in by the end and acknowledges that he wasn't playing, I won't count it. But if he just leaves us hanging the whole time, then I will. You know what I mean? We'll skip over. So this one is multiple choice only. We're just going to skip because technically this is like a which of these is not question as opposed to which of these is question. So you can't really have like a guess on it. So this is just worth 1 point for Alien Resurrection. Director Jeannot had trouble securing studio space because several other Hollywood blockbusters were filming at the same time, not including, at least according to Wikipedia, A, Titanic, B, Starship Troopers, or C, Batman and Robin. So 2 of those movies conflicted with Resurrection studio space. Which of them didn't? Titanic, Starship Troopers, Batman and Robin.
I'm gonna say Batman and Robin.
Scott?
Batman and Robin.
Casey?
You said not including, so this is not right. Not including.
Yeah, which one didn't do this?
Right. I'll go Titanic.
Well, congratulations, Casey. You're wrong. The other 2 are right. It was, in fact, Batman and Robin, which, to be honest, might have been, to be honest, but it wasn't the one that Wikipedia said. So, all right, my favorite round. Scott. Yeah. So the answer to that one was Batman and Robin. Round 5, Prometheus. What defunct social media platform was later investigated by the British Broadcasting Regulatory Authority, Ofcom, for its improper advertising of Prometheus?
Wow.
Friendster.
Casey?
What?
Brian?
I don't think I remember all the words you said, to be honest. I have no idea. Yeah, I need some choices in life.
A defunct social media website.
Yeah, it was investigated by Ofcom, which is like I think it's like the British FCC, basically, for improper advertising. Though I think it has more to do with like internet advertising.
Internet advertising.
Right. The options. You're not guessing this. There's no way you're guessing this without the options. The options, and I should say, I made up none of these. These are all real defunct social media platforms. A, Zbox, B, Bebo, or C, Klube.
Klube. Klube.
Hello,
And
Clue.
that actually got going, huh?
It's 20th Century Fox. We'd like you to work with our alien.
Check out our Klubes.
Don't worry, Ridley. We've got Z-Box on the phone. This movie is going to go straight to the top.
I'm really surprised they're defunct now. That's shocking.
I mean, they're all great names.
Right.
We have
Klube
to
up.
agree with that.
Yeah.
I know
Z-Box.
Bebo because that's the only one I actually think I know of. I don't even know if it exists anymore or whatever it was, but that's the only one of the 3 I know I've heard before.
Scott,
Z-Box.
Casey.
Zbox.
Casey and Scott have it. It is Zbox.
Oh, look at you
Zebox.
tech giants.
Zbox is the answer to round 5. Round 6.
Wait, how's it spelled?
Zeebox. At the end, I'm going to paste all the answers before the password round. But thank you for keeping. That's very, very good D&D gamer of you to keep that. Alien Covenant, this is for you, Casey. What San Diego institution consulted on the designs of the creatures and xenomorphs in Alien Covenant?
I'm gonna pass.
What is the question? Can you repeat it?
Brian, what San Diego institution consulted on the designs of the creatures and xenomorphs?
Yeah, how many choices?
Scott?
The San Diego Zoo.
Casey, the three options are the College of Anatomy and Physiology, B, Zoo, or C, the County Morgue.
County Morgue.
I'll go anatomy and physiology. What'd you say? The Institute of Anatomy and Physiology?
College of Anatomy and Physiology. Brian?
I'll go with that one,
Yeah, I'll go with that one, sure.
Scott?
I'm going to stick with the zoo because then I get 3 points.
And 3 points you do indeed get. It is Zoo. The answer is
Wow.
Zoo. Z-O-O. Round 7, we're starting with you, Brian. And only fate would make it where this is the one that you have to start with. What defining color did Fede choose for the film to distinguish it from previous entries?
I'm trying. It's either red or green is what I'm going, but I think I think green. I think green. Yes, I know it's green.
Scott. What was that?
Red.
Casey.
I'm gonna say red.
If I get this wrong, I'm blaming my color blindness because I see the opposite.
Brian,
Clearly.
the options are A, yellow, B, red, C, orange.
Oh, Jesus Christ. These are the ones that blend other than last. I'm going to go red because it's clearly not green.
Scott.
Sticking with red, man.
Casey.
Gotta get those points.
Also sticking with red.
Well, congratulations, everyone. You're all wrong. It was orange, apparently.
Ah!
Orange,
No.
huh?
Where is it orange?
Um,
Yeah, it's a little orange.
I
I'm
need to talk to him.
I'm posting in the chat the seven answers. Ebert, 9. Rennie Harlan, Batman and Robin, Z-Box, Zoo, and Orange. Now, you guys must decode the 7-letter code from these 7 answers. If I'll give you guys a minute, you talk amongst yourselves if you want to, because technically, if you guys don't get this right, none of you all lose.
All right. Does anybody remember all the letters or what we're trying to?
It's in the chat.
Yeah.
I posted all the answers in the chat.
9.
Oh, my bad.
Spelled out. Rennie Harlan. And so this will give us like what the 7-digit letters are.
Yeah, the 7. It's not 7 digits. It's 7 letters.
7 letters.
And it's a word, basically. It's basically a word. It's a cool spelling of a word, of a fun word. I'll play some, some
Hey, you're gonna have to loop that.
It's funny. It's funny. It's like the Zoom thing is picking up that as movement. Sorry, I'll shut up. It's very simple. I'll go ahead and I'll give you guys this hint. It's a very simple deduction code. It's like it's a code that a child might make.
Oh, nice way to make us feel real smart there.
Yep,
Mother.
exactly.
Fucker. I have no idea.
Beep boop.
Wait. like mixing the first letters, we could get like xenomorph. No, like
No, it's an X. So, yeah, that was the first I thought of too.
like ZEN.
An interesting thought experience. Mixing the first letters. What other words could they make?
Yeah.
Maybe a word that isn't directly related, but is thematically related. In a funny sense. Bing. Bing.
Yeah, my brain is not.
People.
Is it Bones? BONEZZ? Bones?
Does that use... That is only 5 letters.
Oh yeah, there's only that doesn't.
It sounds similar.
Yeah, the R's in there. We gotta.
Yeah.
Yeah. The R is in there. You can spell bones with 2 Z's with 6 of the letters. What?
Oh wait! I got it.
Yeah.
BONERZZ. Boners.
Passcode detected. Mother approved. The passcode is boners spelled with 2 Z's.
Yeah, I was trying to get it.
I think my 12-year-old sense of humor to remember that one, get that one for us.
You have 20 points you can distribute amongst all players, including Edwin.
Okay, do I know? Can I know the scores so I know what to do potentially?
You're at 3. The other 2 are at 5.
So and then I have 20 points to deal with.
Yeah, and then there's one last question, a final Jeopardy style round.
All right. I'm gonna take. I'm gonna be nice. I'm gonna take 12 of the points for myself, and then we'll give 4 and 4.
Okay. Nice.
I'm being nice, you know.
4 and 4 to who?
You.
To you two.
Edwin's out. Edwin is literally a shadow.
Oh, I just want to make sure that everyone wasn't taking my 4 points.
Nope. He's just I don't know.
To quote MJ and Spider-Man 2, you're nothing more than me than an empty seat.
Yeah.
So this is Final Jeopardy. So the clue for this round is, in fact, boners spelled with 2 Z's.
Of course.
So before we get to the question, much like Final Jeopardy, you have to write down your wager. So you've got 15 points, Brian, and Scott and Casey both have 9 points to wager with.
All right.
You don't have to actually write it down. You just have to keep it in your mind and be chill. The question is, in one version of Alien 3's conception, this time headed by Kiwi filmmaker Vincent Ward, Ripley lands on a small planet inhabited by monks and made of what material? So everyone can think about what their answer would be. In one version of Alien 3's conception, this time headed by Kiwi filmmaker Vincent Ward, Ripley lands on a small planet inhabited by monks and made of what material? Does everyone have an answer?
Yes.
Scott, you seem confident. What do you think? Well, how much did you wager?
I wagered all 9 points.
And what are you guessing? Wood. Casey, how much did you wager?
I also wagered 9 points, and I also said wood.
Brian?
You unoriginal piece of shit.
Well, you say that, but I'm actually agree the same answer, same amount. 9 is my number. I was gonna do 9 anyways, and that's what I'm doing. 9 and wood. 9 and wood.
You guys are in fact correct. That is, I mentioned that earlier. That's the one with like the monastery where they lock her down.
Yeah.
It was gonna be like a little planet made of wood.
Oh yeah.
And so Scott and Casey, silver medals. Edwin, no medal, because he never showed up. And Brian, that's a gold medal for you. Congratulations. Let me.
It's all thanks to boners.
Let me revert to my my human form, real quick.
We should just do a podcast with weird characters like that sometime.
Oh fuck!
I actually enjoy that.
Oh fuck! Oh, I'm back.
Oh.
Okay.
Oh, Connor, you're back.
I'm back. What
Yeah,
happened?
wow.
That was fucked up.
We just dealt with some craziness. Is all I got.
Ryan sold us all out.
I did.
Damn.
Kept 12 points. You weren't there, but kept 12 points. It was crazy.
Edwin,
Yeah.
are you?
But I'm a giver. I give.
Edwin, are you
Yeah,
there?
Edwin's gone.
Are you there
Edwin,
at all? Can you do your segment? Scott, do you have your segment?
Yep.
Okay, cool. Let me give you this.
All right, welcome to Scott's Comic Corner, brought to you by Eric Clapton and Waylon. 2 corporations that they agree.
Most likely problematic.
Yeah. We're going to start out with this week's issue of the week. Usually I save it to the end, but we're sticking with today's theme.
Oh, hell yeah.
It is Aliens vs. Avengers.
I really want to check this out. Is it good? I guess you're going to tell us.
It was all right, yeah. It takes place in, like, the future. They're older, the Avengers. They're in their 60s. And the aliens the xenomorphs are taking over. They've invaded Earth, and all of Earth has been infected or killed off. And there's like one last remaining, not even town, it's a building. And I'm not sure what the story is yet. We're just seeing who's still around. It's hard to say. I enjoyed the first issue. Here's one thing: it's $8.
Ooh, yeah.
So
$8.
Yeah, and it's 40 pages, which is not that much longer. Like, I think that's going to turn some people off because I don't know if it's worth the higher price.
Might be worth.
It's not like it's not a variant cover or anything either. It's just the straight.
I only got one. They were selling variant covers, but I didn't pick one up because I was like, I'm not dropping $16 on this book.
Well
oh my God, 16! Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
No, I'm just saying because one would have been 18.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Copy. Yeah.
So, and it's interesting because like, hasn't appeared yet. Neither has Captain America. And actually, like, even like Captain Marvel is older than she looks in this on the cover. So, I don't know. It might be worth waiting. It's a 4-issue arc. I think it's going to be. The second one doesn't come out till November. I think this thing got delayed.
Yeah.
Hickman's been pretty busy. It's written by Jonathan Hickman. He's been busy because this was originally supposed to come out in July. And part of the reason I know that is because from one of the variant covers they were doing for all the issues was like the whatever character versus Alien.
Mm.
And that was last July. But this didn't come out till the end of August, finally. And the next one is not coming out till November.
I like that artist a lot too. Asad Ribic is a really good artist.
Yeah. They did Secret Wars together, right?
Yeah. And he did I know him the most from him and Jason Aaron did like the arcs of Thor that the fourth Thor is largely adapted from, like the Gore the God Butcher stuff.
Okay.
Which is really good.
So anyways, that's our issue of the week. But now we're moving into X-Men time.
Nice.
That's really what I've been focusing on, the From the Ashes storyline. So we haven't got any new stuff yet. This week we get X-Men #3, which is starting to like kind of not exactly crossover, but like the 3 main issues. The 3 main storylines are going to be X-Men, the Uncanny X-Men, and now next week the third of that is going to come out, Exceptional X-Men. That's going to be with Kitty Pryde and Emma Frost are the main two. I'm not sure who the rest is. But as we get into X-Men 3, we're starting to get the main storyline. Mutants are being formed in adults as opposed to younger, like pre-pubescents. So they're trying to figure out why. I'm enjoying the story. I'm enjoying the world building of all the larger arcs. This week also had the number 2 of both NYX and X-Force. I haven't got a chance to read them yet, but I'm curious to see how like the rest of the X world looks. So yeah, I've been enjoying the whole From the Ashes storyline, and I think the next one next week is going to be the big reveal with Extraordinary X-Men. So I'm looking forward to reading that.
Nice.
So yeah, that's it for now.
Hell yeah. Yeah, I'm still catching up on the Ultimate series. I think I mentioned this last week, but if you haven't looked up, just look up Ultimate X-Men Peach Momoko. It looks completely different from any American comic on. I mean, it's drawn by like a Japanese like manga. I don't know if she's done manga specifically or if she's just done comics, but it looks like a manga, and it's like formatted like it too. It's like it's about armor, and she's like a kid in school, and she has like a friend who a bunch of their friends like committed suicide, and now she's been being haunted by like a weird shadow monster. It's very J horror. Yeah, anything else? I think we should get motherfucking genocide in Palestine, Congo, Sudan, everywhere else. I was gonna shout out a couple little things. I rewatched. I haven't watched this short film in a long time, but I rewatched the short film Rubber / music video Rubber Johnny recently, which I don't know who here has seen that, but just it's Aphex Twin. It's a great weird 5-minute short film / music video about like a mutant kid living in his basement listening to EDM music. It's creepy and funny. I've been playing the video game Hades a lot recently, and for movie night, I wanted to shout out 2 things. One, we watched Tiptoes recently, which is something else. It's like if the Goonies, if the main person was like a 40-year-old in like a spinny cap, but also if the Goonies was about like an under. It's like a movie about little people, and it seems to like genuinely kind of be a genuine attempt at making a movie about this community, and it stars like hundreds of little people. Unfortunately, the main little person is played by Gary Oldman doing Dorf DORF, like standing on his knees in his tennis shoes, and it's fucking weird. But more importantly than that, I wanted to praise Brian here. We had our 4th anniversary, and Brian created my contribution is only the name, the Justice's Chrome edition of Fateful Findings, a grayscale black and chrome sort of version of the best bad movie ever made, Fateful Findings.
Yes.
It looked incredible.
It looked awesome.
It was so fun to do. I would love to have another screening of this one at some point.
Yeah, we should.
Out.
I was thinking next year, because we always do the double feature for the anniversary. Next year we should do Fateful Findings and Fateful Findings Justice.
Oh yeah.
Hell yeah.
I mean, it definitely felt so different watching it. It did feel like a weird detective. And then you're like, this is Neil being Neil, peak Neil. It's
sleep for like probably like 10 minutes, and when I woke up, just like not realizing I had fallen asleep and just looking at TV, I was like, what am I looking at? Like what it took me a second to like, oh right, I'm watching this movie with you guys.
That was the Possessor year, right?
That happened, yeah.
Yeah, I remember that. You fell asleep during Possessor and then woke up for Fateful Findings. Wild, yeah.
But yeah, anybody else got anything they want to shout out? Edwin, you there? You're seeing your ceiling.
Shout out to a ceiling.
Blink Twice was good. Casey and I saw it. I thought it was great.
Blink.
I look forward to seeing it again. I think it was a surprise, summer surprise for sure.
Great movie. Great movie. They don't make them like that anymore.
They do not.
Wow. All right.
I mean, they literally just did. With that
I was just saying, like they're.
Other than that time, you know.
I don't know how long they've been sitting on this one. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Casey, you know, it had that other title first. I didn't even know about that.
Yeah, I think
That's wild.
I think the other title's better, to be honest with you.
I actually would have, if that had been the title, it would have gotten a lot of people in the seats. I think a lot more.
What was it called?
It was supposed to be called Pussy Island. You know, and I think it's wild, right?
Interesting. Yeah. It's like Drive-Away Dolls.
Yeah, totally. Yeah.
but yeah. Yeah. I want to say, well, next week. I think it's going to be next week. It might be in 2 weeks, but we're Twin Peaks Club Volume 7. We are reaching the end of the original series, the last 4 episodes. Things are getting better again. It's funny, on our last episode, on our last episode, we talked about 5 of them, and the 5th one, the last of the last batch we watched, that's when Gordon Cole, David Lynch's character, appears. That's like the episode with the that's the kind of girl that makes you want to learn a little French, like that stuff. And you can tell, like, I don't know if it was a placebo thing, but it's like the first episode he's back, you're immediately like, oh, this is like way better. Like, I don't know what it is, like if it was literally just him being there, or maybe it was just them getting focused and being done with all the like bullshit storylines and actually starting to engage with like a major A plot again for the first time in like 8 episodes. But I just watched the first one, so that's gonna be next. I want to thank Brian here for composing our outro. I want to you should follow us, CinemaCurse666, on TikTok and Instagram. You should share this episode with your local zoologist. If you've got some
Makes
sort
sense.
of zoologist in your family, in your community, at your church, because everybody should be going to church
Every single week.
And you know, just
At least, yeah.
like and subscribe, smash that like button,
Smash.
share this with your friends. It's the only way we can keep. It's the only way I can justify putting the amount of time that I put into this in it, is when every once in a while we get an episode like the Mad Max one where it's like 10,000 views. Whoa. But I mean, we do this for the love of the game. I'm in this for the long haul, because I literally can't stop talking about movies. But yeah, I think that's it. Thanks for joining, everyone. It's been great. Bye bye.
See you guys later. Thanks for joining.